Asana is a great, great project management tool. We are biased, but I want you all to know that I have used Excel in my past. I actually love Excel. I love a good spreadsheet. The first time that I learned how to do pivot table in Excel, I was so excited. It changed my life, and I started using Excels for absolutely everything. And quickly that excitement wore off when I had to start manually keeping that spreadsheet up to date on a daily or weekly basis. And so that's what we want to focus on today, is not necessarily bashing Excel or making us think that it's a horrible tool, because it is an amazing tool. But what it doesn't do is create a good space to collaborate with your team. And so that's what I want us to focus on and discuss today. A big part of our work today is actually spent trying to find relevant information. And so a study was done that showed that 28% of work time is actually spent responding to emails. This study was done by McKinsey Global Institute. 14% of our work time is spent trying to communicate and collaborate with our team members. And then 19% of that time is actually spent searching for information. So with Asana, a lot of times what I can hear is people are afraid to learn a new tool because they think that it is going to create work about work. Whereas this is the exact opposite of the goal of using Asana. The goal of using Asana is to decrease all of these statistics right here, because we want to create a good place to collaborate and communicate where information is easily trackable, findable, updatable, and we're not having to manually post all of these updates in a variety of Excel spreadsheets that don't talk to each other, that change every time someone new might come in. So, what is wrong with Excel? Because, like I just said, it's a great tool. It does a lot of amazing things. The problem is that it is not a good place to centralize information. So, comments are spread all over the place. We might have formula errors. Oh, it looks like I'm sharing our poll. So, I'm going to hit stop sharing. Sorry about that. Okay, so Excel is a great tool, but we don't really have a great capacity to centralize information. And while you can create a template version of an Excel, it is so customizable that people can kind of break your template or change your template and customize it in such a way that you can't really consolidate that information into an easy view. So we have some Excel files just to give us an example and see this in real life. We have this beautiful Excel. We've got this Gantt chart that we've started. We're tracking the different items that need to be done. We've created this drop-down menu of who needs to be assigned this task. We've got start dates and due dates. We can make this show our percent complete. So again, this is a really nice looking Excel sheet. I can also see here, wow, I have a lot of comments. I need to go through, figure out what's going on. Are these correct? Okay, somebody put this in red font. What does that mean? Did somebody come in here and do that? Did I do that and forgot? Why is this highlighted in orange? What do these stars mean? So this is a great file, but becomes so much work to update because everyone might be using it differently. And if we want to update this drop down, we've got to go create, a separate little list area that we've got to manage as well. And then the second we create a new spreadsheet, so let's say we've created a new version of this, that dropdown has to be updated in multiple different spreadsheets. We don't have one source for that data. So if I go back over here, this was the second sheet we were looking at. It looks similar, but I can tell already that this person decided to use a different dropdown for task status. What do these options really mean? There's also a notes field, but there's also comments. So again, you all are here because you know the pains of Excel. It can be hard to just find the information you're looking for, or you're constantly fixing broken formulas, or people don't know how to set up the formulas, and so you become responsible to manage it. And that burden is a burden you don't want to have to bear, is constantly fixing and managing these Excel spreadsheets. And then if somebody happens to create a completely different version of this task list, how do we know which one is up to date? Is there duplicative information? How do we roll this up into one neat report? So these are some of the pains that you all should be familiar with when trying to make these Excel files work for you and your team, as well as tracking changes. So those are the pains. What we want to do with Asana is we want to solve those pains, and we want to centralize information and centralize communication so that you know where to go and where to post comments and have a conversation, rather than being spread out across different files, different versions of files. Did I save the right file? Did I email the right file? Asana will create one source of truth for you so that you always know where to go. So we are going to hop back into Asana now, and we're going to take a look at what we can do here. So in Asana, we are going to talk about first the pyramid of clarity. And you know what? I actually have a slide for this that I'm going to go back to. I got a little bit ahead of myself. So the pyramid of clarity is a visual representation of how Asana works. And what I want you all to remember and focus on with this pyramid of clarity is the fact that this pyramid is the structure of Asana, and you don't have to architect any sort of structure. Whereas with Excel, because it is so customizable and you can do really whatever you want, that also puts the burden on you to come up with a structure, with a system, and hope that nobody after you or beside you changes that. So with Asana, that structure is already there for you. And so you work within the structure of this tool, which really helps, again, standardize, helps templates not break, and helps prevent a lot of complicated formulas that people don't realize are there or don't know how to fix. So at the very bottom of our pyramid, we have tasks. Those are going to be our smallest level of items in Asana. So that's going to be exactly who is doing what. So when we were looking at our Excel sheet, that's going to be those individual roles where we were assigning tasks to specific people. Then those tasks live within projects. So an Asana project would be the equivalent of our Excel workbook. So that is going to contain the list of things that we need to do and the timeline by which we need to do them by. What you can see in this pyramid is also that one task is actually shared across multiple projects. And this is a great way to prevent duplication of information. So when we're working from Excel files, if I need to track what's going on over here and I have a colleague who might need to know some of that information, but has a whole other list of things to track, that information might get input in two different workbooks and therefore has to get updated in two different places. But within Asana, we can have one task shared between two projects so that everybody can have visibility and there's only one place to update that information, one source of truth about that particular work item. The next layer up from projects is going to be our portfolio layer. And this is going to be your global reporting on those projects and how those projects are progressing. So again, if we go back and compare with Excel, you might have created a master tracker that might have links to other workbooks, and that can break easily the second you have a new Excel workbook or something happens in the original workbook and the link changes. So that master tracker, you have to build yourself, you have to maintain yourself, and you have to make sure all those formulas are correct. Portfolios is essentially going to do this automatically for you. You just drop the project into that portfolio and you have this awesome space to track the progress. So the goal with portfolios is to see globally what's going on without going into all the nitty-gritty tiny details. I just need to know if these projects are at risk, on time, going well. Do we have anything we need to highlight? That's what the portfolio is going to do for you. And then the top layer of our pyramid is going to be goals. So again, the goal here, pun intended, is that we have one source of truth so that you can track everything related to what your company is working on in the same space to share visibility, and then tying the accomplishing of those goals to the actual work that's going on so that they are not independent, but rather they are linked together so that as I mark tasks complete, projects get completed, those goals actually move forward automatically. And I can see us moving forward and accomplishing our goals in one space, one source of truth, not multiple reports to export and format and email and send out and update. And by the time it's sent, it's not even up to date anymore because all of this happens in real time in Asana. So lastly, I will speak about teams. So teams are going to be about the people that are working together. So the examples that are showing on this page would be departments. So we have a marketing team, operations team, and so on. So we want to look at teams as creating a space within Asana where we are going to have them working together on a myriad of projects, and we're also going to attach goals to that team. So what is the marketing team working towards? They are working towards organizing 4 events worldwide. So now, in order to accomplish that goal, we have to go create those Asana projects, and then we can attach those Asana projects to that goal, which I'm going to show you shortly. So all of that very conceptual, but again, just showing you the structure of Asana, because the better you understand the structure, the more you can leverage these features to build out what you need. Now we're going to hop back into my demo space here that I jumped ahead too quickly earlier. And what we're going to take a look at is that pyramid of clarity that I just discussed. So we'll start again from the bottom down. So I am going to click into this field marketing team. And what we have here when I click on my All Work tab is the list of projects that this team is working on. So I have a Sydney show, Tokyo, New York, and London show. These are the different things that my marketing team is working on. When I click into that project, I can see all of the tasks that need to get done to make this Sydney show happen. So what I want you to notice here is that these are truly the tasks that are actionable and assigned to a specific person. And in Asana, you can only assign one person to a task. So for example, here I have create unique URLs. That's a very clear action item. Cheryl is going to be responsible for that. And this needs to be done between December 6th and December 8th. As you can see here from my due date column, we can have a date range, or we can have a single day. So Marie needs to reach out to local community members on Saturday. So very specific action items that we're focused on here. And then this last task, you can see it has an hourglass, but it's also green. This hourglass means there's a dependency on it. This is actually a milestone, and that's why it is green on the left-hand side. If we scroll up and take a look maybe at another one, you can see it will look like a diamond when there's no dependency attached. And so this milestone then is going to represent a big portion or phase of this project being accomplished. And so Larry is going to be responsible to make sure that these campaigns get launched. And when we mark this off complete, that represents a huge portion of this project moving forward. Everything after our due date column is what's called custom fields in Asana. So if we want to add more context, we can do so by adding different columns that can be drop-down menus, multi-select, date fields, and many other options. So what this accomplishes for us outside of Excel is a place where we can create actionable items that are assigned to specific people. So if I hop back out to my field marketing team, and I see that we have multiple different projects. We have Tokyo, New York, and London. Michelle might have tasks in all of these. And so I don't want Michelle to have to flip between a bunch of different projects or Excel workbooks and filter and sort and try to find what might be overdue or upcoming. That's a lot of work to have to flip between all those Excel files. This is what the My Tasks area is going to accomplish for your team. They can come to their My Tasks and they can see immediately if they have anything overdue or upcoming. So I'm going to change the date so we can just see this in action. When I come to My Tasks, I see everything assigned to me regardless of the project. So I don't have to go into the Sydney show to find out that it's overdue. I can simply see from my Tasks that I was supposed to get this plan put together yesterday. Maybe I just forgot to mark it complete. This is a good reminder. So I can go ahead and mark complete directly from my Tasks. And then I can continue on. So again, you can see I have tasks from a myriad of different projects. London, Sydney, what else do we have? Project launch requests, Amsterdam. So again, as a manager, you can create a variety of projects. And when you assign them out to your team, they just go to their My Tasks to see what they need to focus on. So this is a huge advantage. All right, the next piece that I want to talk about was our portfolios that I mentioned. So you have these different projects that you're working on, And like I said, the portfolio is where you can see that progress automatically. You don't have to create a master tracker. We are going to create a portfolio. And when we take a look at that portfolio, it is going to pull up information from the project itself. So for example, those milestones that I mentioned. So I said Sydney, we were looking at Sydney earlier. The project is ready to start. That milestone's been marked complete. The event day program ready has been marked complete. So we are utilizing a template for all of our shows that all have the same number of milestones so that in my portfolio, I automatically can see if we're behind on something. I can also pull up into the portfolio to show me if I have any overdue tasks. So I can see that New York is probably not doing so well. We actually have a status update here that says we were off track. We've got 11 overdue tasks and 2 overdue milestones. So this is going to immediately flag the project for me. Maybe I need to get with the project owner. So Larry is really the manager of this New York show. I need to talk with him. I need to understand what's going on and what got in the way of getting this done. And maybe we have time to get it back on track. When I flip to the timeline view of this portfolio, you're also going to be able to see those milestones and on a timeline view, one project against another. So I can see if we have a lot going on at the same time, or if we have everything spaced out, or even again, how far behind are we on those 2 milestones. Similarly, I'm going to hop back into our Sydney show project. We are looking at this like a list view. Up here, we're on this list page right here. When we were looking at our Excel file, we had a nice visualization on the right-hand side of the Gantt chart. So that can also be something that is a lot of manual work to have to create a Gantt chart or create it into a calendar view, create a different view that maybe another team member would understand or a client would understand. The beauty of Asana is that it will pivot this information into those different visualizations. So for example, if I click on the calendar, it now creates this beautiful calendar for me. And you can view this as a month or as a week. So again, depending on how your teammates might want to see this, or if you need to take a quick screenshot and send it to a client to show them what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. We also have the timeline view. The timeline view is really great for visualizing dependencies and seeing how those tasks fall one against another. You can even create new timelines directly, you can create new dependencies directly from this timeline view by dragging and dropping. You can adjust date ranges directly from this view, and those dependencies will move automatically. So again, what this is doing for you is it is creating all of these different ways of viewing the same information, but it's doing it automatically so that you don't have to create these different views using complex formulas or syncing it to a particular tool. You have all of this available directly within Asana. There is also a Gantt view. So if any of you are used to using Microsoft Planner, Project, it does not have all of the same capabilities as our Microsoft Project because this is Asana, but we do have this Gantt view. And so I know some people really like to view their project timelines on a Gantt view. And so this is what you're going to see here. You're going to see this bar for the date range of each section, and you're going to see the bar for each task underneath that range. If I hover over it, you can see in blue at the top the exact dates there as well. And we've got this nice duration column, as well as the visualization of those dependencies, just like we saw on the timeline tab. So a lot of really great options to view our projects, depending on what you might need to see or what your colleagues might want to see. Okay, I'm going to go back to our portfolio because I want to touch on one more visualization here. We have a dashboard tab. So again, with our Excels, what we love about Excel is our formulas and being able to extrapolate data. And so what I want to put your minds at rest about is the fact that you have this dashboard tab available for your projects as well as your portfolios. And so again, all of this done automatically for you because as data changes at that task and project level, these dashboards are updated automatically. So you don't have to go sync it to another file or export it to PowerPoint and update the pie chart, whatever it might be. It is going to update automatically in this single source of truth that we have here in Asana. So these dashboards, we're on the portfolio level dashboard. It's going to take all of the data from the projects within that portfolio. So we can see if we have total incomplete tasks, if we have overdue tasks. We can look at those incomplete tasks by each project. So really any sort of KPI or any data point that you want to see about the progress of your projects, we can create a chart for you on your dashboards based on the information that you might want to start your day or close your week with. Each of these charts in the dashboard is available to copy that image or download that image if you want to stick it into an email or a Word doc or some other sort of way to communicate to external stakeholders who might not have an account with Asana. What you have additionally in our portfolio here is going to be our workload. So you can also see, okay, well, how much does Larry have going on across all of these different projects? And again, the whole point is to highlight here the difference between Excel and Asana. With Excel, we don't really have a great way to filter all of the assignments to one person across multiple different workbooks, unless you have created a tracker and put a lot of manual work into formulas and importing files. So again, it's just a lot of manual work to get something that will automatically be done for you within Asana. All right. So portfolios is a great place to get the weather on your projects without driving straight into all of the details. But if you see something that flags a problem, you can click straight into that project. You can update information. So maybe I see that this is overdue, but with Marie, we had discussed changing this due date. We can update that, and that change will be reflected everywhere for Marie in the dashboard, in the portfolio overdue count of tasks. So this is the goal here, is that reducing that manual work of tracking everything and getting your focus on actually getting that work done and not having to update your spreadsheets often. There's a lot more that we could dive into, but it is best to start with the essentials. What I want you all to know is that you can import Excel files into Asana. And so if you all are managing your projects from an Excel file, we can import those into Asana to get started right off the bat. Now, there is some cleanup that is involved to make sure that everything tracks properly and imports properly. And so an offer that we have for you guys today, thank you so much for logging on and joining us today, is for you to actually send us those Excel files. We will help clean them up. We will put them into an Asana project for you and actually send you a link so that you can import that Asana project directly into your space. So we're about to move into the Q&A portion of our webinar. And I just want to let you know that we are going to be sending that link shortly. So you can look for that in the chat before we close our time together today. So hopefully the little taste that you've seen so far today is showing you really the benefits of getting out of Excel and using Asana as a space to really coordinate and collaborate with your team. Having that My Tasks area is super helpful for your team as well as you. And something that I did miss to discuss was that you can also comment on tasks with your team. Every single task has an area to post comments. So again, we want to centralize the information in that conversation on the task at hand so that we're not, again, spreading around between email, between chat, between Slack, between all of these different places, but centralizing work within one tool where we can communicate together. So what this is going to do is you're going to go from looking at perhaps a Google Drive file with a bunch of Excel spreadsheets that don't give you a ton of information to a wonderful portfolio, which immediately gives you a snapshot about what's going on and everything is updated because it's a single source of truth that just ladders up that pyramid that we discussed at the beginning. So with that, I will move into our Q&A session. So if you guys have questions, please do post them in the Q&A box, and Arthur will bring those up for us to discuss. So we'll leave a few minutes for you guys to share any questions that you might have. I will go over this milestone progress that Shelly asked. Again, don't be shy. Continue to post any questions while I go over this. The milestone progress is something available on your portfolios. And it is something that you actually can flip between, where we have this progress type, can either be task percentage or it can be milestone. So I have mine set to milestone, and perhaps yours is set to task. And so that is why you are seeing percent complete. So depending on how you want to track the progress of each of your projects, you would set that either to task progress or milestone completion. So one of the questions Amy just asked is, which part is for a part of the paid features? So there are a few tiers of Asana. There is a free tier of Asana. If you are using the free tier of Asana, this is definitely the most limiting, and essentially a good majority of what I went through requires you to have at least the advanced tier. So the free tier is not going to allow you to have any of these drop-down menu options. You cannot add custom fields on the free version. So the free version is helpful if you really just want to have projects with a task list and you only need to assign and due date those tasks. If you want to be able to add custom fields, you would need to pay for that first tier of Asana, which is the starter tier. And we'd be happy to walk you through the various tiers and what would be the best fit for you and your team. I know that Arthur just posted in the chat the link to book a call with us. So please don't hesitate to book that call. We'd be happy to explain the different tiers and again, just kind of assess what your needs are for your company. But essentially, the majority of what I went through today would require at least the advanced tier. So you have starter and then advanced and then enterprise. Is it possible to create a project that have tasks that rotate in their state of completion? For example, I complete a task and I want it to be reset to be incomplete every year. Great question. So that is actually called a recurring task. So if I create a task, I'm going to add one. We are still seeing my screen. Wonderful. I'm going to add one right here just to show you this example. I'm going to say yearly recurring budget. Let's just say that's what I'm going to call it. You can make this a repeating task within the due date section. This is also not available in the free version. Just to be clear, you do have to have at least starter for this. You can click on this button right here that says set to repeat, and then I can choose the frequency. So instead of weekly, I want this to be yearly. And so it's going to occur every time on December 4th. So if I got this done today, I would mark this task complete, have my awesome unicorn fly across my screen, and then a new task is going to be created for next year, December 4th, 2025. And this icon to the right of this due date is actually signaling to me that this is a recurring task. If you want to get in touch with us and discuss anything in regards to what Asana plan might be the best for you, or if you would like any help doing onboarding or optimizing your current Asana use, that is also what we're here for. So we help people learn Asana for the first time. We do trainings with large teams. We also work with small teams to basically transform those Excel files into an Asana process. And then once we are done doing that, we would then train the rest of the team to use Asana. We help people learn basic navigation of Asana, making sure they have their settings correctly, they have the right notifications set up. We don't want too many notifications or too little notifications. So going through things that seem super basic to also discussing more advanced features. This is what we're here for. This is what we love. This is what we're passionate about. All of us who work at i.DO were previously in your position. We were working at companies where we were using Asana to do some sort of project management. I come from the real estate background and construction. That's when I started using Asana and found just immediate clarity, visibility, accountability by moving our tracking into Asana. So much easier to delegate things to my staff or my team. And so I saw an immediate improvement. I've actually been using Asana for going on 9 years now. So we were in your place. We were using it within our companies. When we met various members of the i.DO team. Before I was working for i.DO, I worked with Arthur. Arthur helped me in my company to help set up some good systems. And I loved it so much that I just had to be his coworker and work with the i.DO team. And so that's true of every consultant on the i.DO team. We all were once using the tool and now have become consultants, and we only focus on Asana. So we would love to support your team in doing that. And we'd love to hear from you. We haven't had any other questions come through, so if no more Q&A, I will close out our time. Thank you all so much for coming. Don't hesitate to reach out, and have a great December and enjoy the holiday season. Thank you, everyone.